Okay, very good afternoon to all of you, and a warm welcome to this 100 years of amateur radio in India being commemorated by the Hamfest India 2021 organizing committee. Delighted to have you all here at this event. I am Shankar Prasad, Victor United to Sierra Papa Kilo. My QTH is Mysore, Mike Yankee Sierra Oscar Romeo Echo. We had excellent rains yesterday, excellent session yesterday. Very sultry now, almost about 89 to 90% humid, and about 26 degrees Charlie in the city here. So I'm sure all of you had a great learning and being part of yesterday's event. And today we are continuing. And I'm delighted to welcome my co-hosts for this session. VU2 Echo Tango Sierra, Sarvanan, VU2 Mike Uniform Delta, Madhu, VU2 Sierra, Mike X-Ray, Ramaswamy Venkatraman, and Surya, Victor United 3, Foxtrot November Whiskey, and VU2 Mike Tango Kilo, Old Man Kesri. I'm sure even today's session will be enlightening quite a lot of discussions. I'm sure will happen as we move forward. Just to tell you the day's program. Now we are starting with the roundtable of repeater custodians of India. This is an open house, a sort of a discussion to see how and if possible why and how and why that we should be connecting all the repeaters, at least to start with a few repeaters across and see how things would go and maybe expand it pan-India. Today, we have the technology. Repeaters are of a later model. We have a digital backups, and all that makes it all the more interesting to have the interconnection of repeaters. Moving forward at 1700 hours, we have an amazing session. We have two people, Delta Lima 2, Mike Alpha November Manuel, and Papa Echo 1 November Zulu Gidio. So both of them have been at the forefront of developing the micro SDX. They are the pioneers, just like how we had whatever it says, software-defined transceivers, SDT, as he called it. Jack and Alan called it. These people are pioneers. They have put in so much of effort writing the code and connecting the hardware to it. So they have literally come up with a three-tier architecture: the middleware, the software, and of course the hardware connected with it. So that will be the next session. Moving forward, we have a small session of 15 minutes on disaster management by one of our friends from Delhi, who have been pretty active in that field and who have worked with the government of India. And then we will have the closing sessions. So that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much once again. You're most welcome. So I leave the stage to Sarvanan, we have to Echo Tango Sierra, so who will initiate the roundtable on repeater custodians. I'm sure the custodians are here. So I'll formally welcome you all for this first session. Saravanan, can we start?
Yeah, thank you, Shankar. Good evening to all my ham friends, all the custodians of the repeaters from various locations. I am VU2 Echo Tango Sierra. Handle is Sarau, Sierra Alpha Romeo Alpha Victor, and QTH is Mysore. I am the custodian for the repeater, V2 Tango Romeo Echo in Mysore.
You can enable your camera, Sarah.
Yeah, okay, fine. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And am I audible?
Absolutely, fine and plus.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you. So going forward, just like Shankar said, the discussion to find out various ways of linking repeaters across various geographical locations. I was just surfing the net, and long time back, in fact, I did come across a link called IRLP, the Internet Radio Linking Project, which is the brainchild of Dave Cameron, Victor Echo 7 Lima Tango Delta. a good initiative by him, and quite different from the Echolink which we have and is being used widely by many today. The IRLP is purely radio-to-radio communication, which makes it all the more interesting as a ham. The big difference between the Echolink and IRLP is this: unlike the Echolink, which uses a software and a web user interface to utilize the connected repeaters, the IRLP interface is a purely radio-to-radio communication. The IRLP is a state-of-the-art technology concept that links VHF and UHF equipment together via internet using the widely used and known VoIP protocol. The IRLP basically allows you to have a conversation with another ham or other hams around the globe by either connecting a local IRLP equipped repeater or a simplex base station at various locations. This IRLP is similar to the wires, which is the wide coverage internet repeater enhancement system, which is a proprietary thing from Yasu. They use a similar technology to what IRLP is using. They also follow the same DTMF signaling, and since they use a non-proprietary signaling system, compatibility of radios is very, very wide with various manufacturers. Radios can be used for this particular case. The wires system from Yasu uses the amateur radio repeaters over VoIP, allowing home stations using those repeaters to communicate with each other via VoIP. Like I told you, it uses the same DTMF signaling to make the connection over the internet. And so no proprietary tones or protocols or connection formats are used. So it is compatible with many other brands. So most of the repeater locations in the country, if you physically look at the connectivity, the components that are involved in this IRLP will be like this. You will have it starts from the internet cloud. It gets terminated into an internet router. The IRLP uses a Linux software. It uses a Linux OS and a software on it for the control system and the various other functions. It in turn is getting connected directly to the radio. So internet becomes a must in all the locations where these repeaters are being put up. Today, I don't think in our country we'll have issue accessing internet, no matter which remote part of the country you want to put your repeater. But if you do have issues in getting internet access to those locations, I'm sure there are enough ways which are more economical and like the microwave links on 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz, which are very, very cost effective and very simple to use, which can be easily used for all your internet terminals. And the VoIP technology, allows up to anywhere between 150 to 300 millisecond latency is quite acceptable by most of the VoIP technologies that are being used. So latency is never an issue. And a single hop microwave link should not give you more than 1 or 2 milliseconds of latency if configured and aligned correctly. So I feel basically the IRLP, if you ask me personally, I would prefer the IRLP over the Echolink, basically because it uses a radio-to-radio communication. which makes it more interesting for hands there. So I'm sure there are many other custodians and who will have come across various technologies. I think probably we can discuss and see if we can use and link repeaters, at least to start with one or two close to Mysore, Bangalore, or Chennai, or down south, and see if we can take it forward. Because once you connect, once you link all the repeaters, the coverage is so huge during emergencies, it becomes very, very easy to communicate with each other. That's it from my side. 73s will wait. Take it up, Shankar.
Yes. So there it is. Fantastic points Sarav has raised. Any questions to start off with? Let us start off with the very intention of what do I say? Why we should connect repeaters, obviously by whatever technology Sarav is talking about. So, any questions on that to start off with? Anybody who would like to?
Yes, I would like to have one question. This is VU3 BOP Bopana from Bangalore.
Welcome, Bopana. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening to organizers and all guests and all friends on frequency on this meet. Yeah, yes, I just want, okay, I got into the meeting little late, but anyway, I missed first part of Saru's talk. But anyway, my only concern is, okay, linking of repeaters maybe down south or across the country is a wonderful idea, no doubt about it. It will really be tremendous for any people to access repeaters and communicate anywhere. But the question is, will the respective custodians of those repeaters, suppose I am speaking from Bangalore, and I'm traveling elsewhere, okay, maybe I'll hit some other repeater there, and would they have any interest saying that, okay, all people are using it, how do we maintain this? I mean, that's one of the questions which arise from this particular linking of coverage. Because if it's all like-minded, it's fine. But otherwise, do you think this sort of a problem you would foresee in case it's linked up in near future or in the coming years there, Shankar, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bopana. Yes, an interesting question, no doubt about it. The thing is, this interconnection, whatever we have thought about, is for a very limited period. Of course, we can't keep it interconnected for 24/7, obviously. So let us start off with, let's say, in half an hour or 45 minutes net in the morning, and perhaps see how things would go, because we haven't done it physically. None of us, at least in India, haven't done it. So let us, the intention of this meet is to see if we can do it, add a small hardware, as Saravanan with Echo Tango Sierra said, add a small hardware to it, and see if we can link up these repeaters so that we can have a pan-India kind of a thing. Sarav, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, but I didn't go much into the technicality of the IRLP. Shankar, good evening, Bopana. See, basically this IRLP links, you can enable and disable as and when you require. Only thing is certain amount of self-discipline, that it is not to be used during net hours and things like that. So all the nodes in the IRLP network will have a 4-digit DTMF code, which you can trigger where the link gets switched on. You can use it, and you can shut the link down after usage, Shankar. Take it up, Shankar.
Yeah, that's the intention here. Anybody else would like to add to this? Of course, there is a DTMF triggering where we can switch it on and switch it off as and when we want. Anybody else has any thoughts on this? Let's see if the YouTube has anything here. Neil Bruce says a DTMF trigger would help. Yeah, definitely. That's what I was talking about. Anybody else has the custodians? How do you think should go? Okay, I have one Srinivas here. Please go ahead, Srinivas.
Good evening, everyone. I have worked on this kind of setup VoIP based radio repeaters, not in the ham radio community, but outside. I have tried something similar in our club for VU to PHA repeater. First thing I wanted to know from Saurav is what hardware platform would you be using? Would you be using a PC or a Raspberry Pi kind of a thing, or a SBC 103 PC 103 platform? Second is my question about the fact during emergencies, the ability to have internet access for the IRLP. Is not only limited but almost not available. If Saurav and or anyone else can answer this.
Can I go ahead, Shankar?
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Saurav.
Yeah. Good evening, Srinivas. See, getting internet to any corners today is the least of the problems, Srinivas. So, like you said, let us assume during emergencies, in case network does go down, I'm sure we can have redundant links from various operators to have it covered. And I'm sorry, I didn't get your first question.
Saurav, my first question, I'll come to it, but the mere fact that you've mentioned about getting a redundant link from any service provider, what has been observed is that the service providers themselves go down for the first 10 days or anywhere where there is a disaster. My first question is, what platform would you prefer using? A PC based or a PC 103 SBC, a single board computer, or your Raspberry Pi? What kind of hardware would you prefer?
Yeah, PC based is what is preferred, running a Linux OS. There's a lot of acknowledgement that happens in between. The PC based would be better, Srinivas.
An extension to the same question, why not Raspberry Pi based? Your power consumption is much lower for a PC 104 based.
Possible, we can think about it because it's quite flexible. We can definitely look at it.
Okay.
Shankar?
Okay, let's see. I think Alex had raised his hand earlier. Alex? No, okay.
So I just had a doubt about what's known as latency.
Okay. You wanted how the latency would be. I don't think it would be much. Saurav?
Latency, you wanted to know the kind of latencies you'll have on the internet links, is it?
I mean, the latency between the VHF signal and across the end-to-end, what would be the latency?
That will not be much. See, if you let us assume you have a microwave link connecting the internet service provider to the repeater side, that is 1 millisecond, and it gets connected directly to the router, to the PC, and to the radio, and back the same way. And latency is just probably, if you can just ping any of the US servers, I don't think you'll hit more than 8 to 10 milliseconds. That is the normal latency on the internet links there. Whereas the VoIP can take up to 150 millisecond also.
Okay. I think Mangesh has a question. Mangesh, can you go ahead? OUM, VU3, OUM.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. Saurav, I have a quick question actually. We here at Pune, VU to RCP, have two repeaters here. One is VU to ETD, which is connected to Echolink. And we have here a lease line as well as very low latency line, very stable line since long time. Of course, we cannot guarantee the conditions on the disaster, but very stable link from BSNL here, about 300 Mbps, we are using it. So if you can share, say like hardware details required for IRLP, I have never used an IRLP node. And that will be easier for us to build what we have to require. And we can check if right now, say VU to ETD is connected with Raspberry Pi, Echolink connected. We are using SVX link, and that is very stable, low power required for that. So we can think if you can share, say like hardware requirement, what you are right now thinking, we can see, and maybe we can do some kind of initial, say connecting a few repeaters. That will help other what is exactly the test of it. So that is my, say, few words. Over to you, Saurav.
Can I go ahead, Shankar?
Yeah, go ahead, Saurav.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Mangesh.
You can switch on your video also, Saurav.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Thank you, Mangesh. In fact, I have used one of your Pune repeaters on Echolink from my mobile during actually an emergency where we were trying to trace somebody. During one of those storms that hit the coastal Maharashtra, I think sometime last year. I don't remember the date. Was quite stable there. Yeah, and as far as the IRLP link, the hardware requirements are concerned, I will definitely, probably we can just mail it across to you. Each one of us can put in our thoughts and see how we can evolve that technology in a better way. Take it up, Shankar.
Okay. Okay. Right. That's the point. That's the point. That's pretty interesting. Anybody else? Any questions on this? Other custodians who are there who have any questions? You can also chat. You can this thing. So one of the persons, RRJV, has asked that is the digital repeaters, are they the future? I would say yes. It's the question of, it is not the question of will it be the future, but no matter whatever repeater we buy from anybody, or even if I have to go back and build my own repeater, I don't think we can get into the legacy system. I think somebody is there. Okay. Okay. Deepan has this thing. Go ahead, Deepan. Deepan?
Deepan, you'll have to unmute your mic.
Yeah. Now are we copying me now?
Yep. Copying you.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, Shankar, Madhu, and Saravanan, and all. Very nice to meet you all on the golden year, the 100 years Hamfest 2021. Very interesting topic. Nearly about 10 years back itself, we tried with 2-3 repeaters connected with an Echolink and operated it. Linking up all the 3 repeaters for 20-25 minutes, and we are able to have a good communication. As Saravanan told about building an IRLP, going to the repeater site and other things. Okay, now we have so many new AMs who have the possibilities of building all these things are possible. But right now, to go ahead with, I think the Echolink is an easiest method, where we can link and we can form a separate group with all the things have been locked so that others cannot enter in, and you can link all the repeaters and you can have a roundtable net which is quite possible immediately, or maybe a week's time or a 10 days time, that may be possible to start with. Then later date, I think you can think of other methods to link the repeaters. Main thing is, only thing is the discipline of the operator. See, because if one operator is going to operate and if 10 repeaters are connected, his voice is going to be heard on all the 10 repeaters. So the discipline with the hams and the coordinator who is going to coordinate from all the locations has to be very, very important. So right now, to start with, my sincere suggestion is to go ahead with the Echolink node immediately. Then later on think of other possible modes. So that's my suggestion. And if in a city like in Chennai city, we have 2 repeaters. Right now, 2 repeaters are operational. So if one repeater is ideal, so we can possibility of linking that repeater for at least 1 or 2 hours to leave it on, and later on we can disconnect. So that possibility is also there. If we have a single repeater, yes, okay, we have to limit the timings. So that's my sincere suggestion, Shankar and Saravanan. Over to you, VTSPK, to DPM.
Yeah, thanks, Deepan, for that excellent thing. That's right. So let's start up. This is the first of the many more interactions that we will have before we reach the ultimate stage of connecting the repeaters. We will certainly take your idea. We'll create a small group, Deepan. We'll certainly do that and see how we can interconnect. What are the plus? What are the minus? Think about it, and I'm sure, Sarav, legally there is nothing that stops us from connecting, interconnecting 2 repeaters also, Sarav. Go ahead, ATS.
Yeah, thank you, Shankar. Thank you, Deepan. Yeah, point well taken, Deepan. Of course, today most of the repeaters are connected through Echolink because it's much simpler to use. Just looking at options basically to see if we can get a better technology, better control for linking up various repeaters there, Deepan. Thank you. Take it up, Shankar.
Yeah, Dibanshu Saha, sir, go ahead.
Thanks, Sarav. Thanks, the host. So my handle is Victor Uniform 2 Delta Echo Foxtrot. QTH is Bangalore TC Palya. So I actually would like to second.
Not hearing you.
Yeah, so my camera is a little bit off than the mic, so that's why I'm disabled on the camera. So I mean, later conversation I may come on the camera as well. So just give me 2 seconds. So 2 points here. I think IRLP should be our way forward because of its open source part. That's number 1. Because Echolink hosted solution may have some challenges in terms of the scale. If we want to scale a bit, then Echolink may not be the right platform to go with. But the other question was like ICOM and some devices are having a D-Star kind of a facility for connecting to repeaters, which is ICOM's proprietary though. But I saw in their list there is a repeater in India which is enabled with D-Star. So are we thinking of like existing repeaters who are having D-Stars? Should we be able to collaborate with those? Or as of now, we can think of like short-term stuff which in wherein a few IRLP repeaters can talk, and we can try it out at our level. Over to you, Sarav. And
Sarav, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get your handle.
Debanshu, call sign Victor Uniform 2 Delta Echo Foxtrot.
Yeah, okay, good evening there. And yeah, like you said, yes, going forward, probably IRLP could be the technology we can use. And see,
All okay, Sarav, anything?
yeah, I'm sorry, can you just repeat that question, Shankar?
Okay, what he said was, should we convert the existing ones, or should we have a small group with a new kind of a link and test it out? That's what I could understand, Devanshu. So that's
Yeah,
it,
okay.
sir.
Okay. Now I remember. Now you said a few repeaters or whatever you have seen comes with a D-star built-in. The IRLP does not use any proprietary technology here. It's open source and it uses a very simple DTMF signaling. The compatibility of this with any brand should not be an issue. So that way, it's very flexible that way. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sure. I think we are good. So I just moving away from proprietary stuff is what we should try, and all aligned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else has any questions? Anything on this subject? So what I would feel is, I think perhaps, Sarav, we can think of a small group, connect with custodians later on, post this, take this forward as we move along, and perhaps talk to about a few repeaters in and around, maybe Mysore, Bangalore, or Chennai, where the connectivity and the mobility is much easier, and also the availability of the net. Think perhaps have a small group and give it a shot, test it out, and see how it would go forward. Would that be a good idea, everyone? The custodians, would that be a good idea?
I think so, Shankar. That's a good idea. In fact, we can form a group and keep discussing. And as we keep discussing, I'm sure we'll have more things that might come out from various people there. I think Deepan had something. Deepan, you have something?
Yes. So initially, I think we can form a group, and we will try with our. I think because ours is all old analog repeaters like FTR2410. Still, it's nearly about 33 years old. It is still working. So right now, updating of a digital repeater or updating with other things may not be possible at an immediate thing. So whatever we have, so we will try it out with the available things, and then later on, if everything goes on well and there is a good response, then think of updating to digital repeaters and the other things. So that's my suggestion, Shankar and
Okay. Yeah, that's what to do. And GMN Gopal says that the IRLP is quite extensively used in Australia, I believe. I think we can be in touch with a couple of hams from Australia and just see how things are going there at that place, at that land. Sarav?
We can do that, Shankar. And Deepan, see, whether it is an old repeat, we are also using a VXR 5000 in Mysore. That's almost around 25, 26 years old. The DTMF, using a DTMF signaling on any of these repeaters should not be an issue at all. And like you said, let's go ahead and form the group and keep discussing and then take it forward from there. Take it up, Shankar.
Okay. So that's it. So, and also I have one, Srinivas says that right now working on linked repeater controller with provision for 2 link and a computer interface for VoIP software. Let's see how things would go with you also, Srinivas. Let's see how things would go, and we will see how we can take this to a larger scale. Perhaps as Deepan and Sarav said, start with a small group and then go ahead with a much larger rollout. Perhaps in a couple of years from now, I'm sure technology would also would have improved there, Sarav. Okay. Now, any other questions? Any other questions? Let me have a look at the YouTube also. Is there any questions that we need to take up? Okay, so I don't think you have any this thing on. Anybody else here would like to share their experience, thought on interlinking of repeaters? Anybody here who would like to say a couple of words?
Yeah, hi, gentlemen. This is Karan. I'm View to India Bravo from New Delhi. I'm basically custodian for View to FUN repeater and View to HUB repeater. So this repeater basically supports Echolink, analog, and DMR. All the three are there. So my take on interlinking is that the various repeaters owners can be given a choice of the various technologies which are available, whether it is IRLP, there is All Star, there is SVX Link, and a couple of other would be there. So whichever is convenient for them, because at the end of the day, they all can be brought to a common platform. There are different bridges which can be created behind that, and those bridges can also link the digital side of it. So not necessarily that all have to be on digital. Now there are two ways. One is that we link repeaters, or there's another way that we form a conference server, which is dedicated for just linking of repeaters, and or links as well. So links would be like the direct frequency, single frequency channels, which will be like a gateway in a city. So if you go, let's say, on 145/200 and you give a call, your call is not only heard within your city, but it is also heard, in the places where that connectivity is going. So that way, your repeaters can be free in those times when the repeaters want to be used locally. And when you want to link the repeater, you can change over to the repeater as well if you need be. So there are different options available, and every different type of mode has its own technology, has its own pros and cons. But interlinking is definitely possible, and it comes with a responsibility. And not only the users have to follow a decorum on it, but even the repeaters have to be programmed in such a way that they don't interlock each other, so that the communication becomes impossible. So just wanted to share my thought on it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Karan this side, yeah.
Karan, thanks, Karan, for that excellent feedback. Absolutely, as you said, it comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility. No doubt it comes with a thing. And as I said, it will not be a 24/7. We'll start off. We can't be locking the repeater all across for one call, which could be between two people in a city or on a particular frequency, whatever you said. Perhaps we can start off as sort of a South India, West India, West India, Indian or a North Indian sort of a net. Maybe slowly go with a couple of cities and then move to a pan-India kind of a thing, Karan. So as you rightly said, it comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility. You're handling and hogging the bandwidth or the frequency. It comes definitely with a big responsibility. So that's right. So let's see how it goes. This is, I think, this is the first of the, as I said, many more discussions that we will have as we move forward. I'm sure we will see how things would go. So it's about 16:40 hours here in India. Any other questions here for this subject? Anybody? Okay. So if there are no other questions, what I'll do is I'll perhaps take the liberty of having, because of the both of our guests for the next session is also here, DL2MAN and PE1NNZ, both of them are here. Delighted to have you, both of you. Such a pleasure to have you from Germany and from Netherlands. Thanks very much for accepting our invitations there. So what we will do is we will end this session and then start off with the next session. Would that be okay, Madhu? Mike Uniform Delta?
I think that will be the ideal thing. We can have the next sessions through, and continue it after we have the disaster that networking presentation, where we will have the extended time. We can continue with that before we have the concluding session, Shankar.
Yes, yes. And before I end, I have one seems to be an interesting question. So we'll give that benefit to that. Pramod has this thing. What about amateur radio repeater satellites? In many cases, circumstances, many places, internet connectivity will be happened. So this is literally going connecting repeaters with a QO100. So both are entirely different. But nevertheless, Pramod, an interesting thought. We'd also thought about having at the end of this session, we are also planning. Oops, I'm sorry. I was listening. Pretty interesting question one before I conclude. What about QO100 kind of a satellite instead of interconnecting repeater? Also an interesting question. No doubt about it. But let's see, the intention we have thought about in Mysore to also have a sort of a QO100 kind of a satellite from our VU land. Let's see, there's quite a lot of discussions are happening internally now. We will put it on a table once sort of a blueprint is ready to have a sort of a CubeSat or sort of an AMSat kind of a thing across covering the geography of our country. So let's see how things would move on. Quite a lot of interesting things happening on in the space segment. Quite a lot of companies coming into, quite a lot of Indian companies are coming into space segment, and we have pretty near to Bangalore, we have a couple of companies. ISRO has been proactive, and we will see how things would go and take this forward. So with that last question, I am indeed very happy for all the custodians and for this excellent discussion that we had on this interlinking of repeaters. So thanks very much to each one of you, and thanks especially to my friend here in Mysore, VU Echo Tango Sierra, for coordinating the whole thing and coming up with an idea of this. So once again, thanking each one of you. So let us now move on to our next session.